Kind of an attitudinal shift in
good
video
lord.
games, because before that, you know, we had basically technical prowess. We would look at the old stuff and be like, oh, it looks okay, sounds okay, and then the next iteration would be like, oh man, that looks fantastic, sounds fantastic. This was actually the 16-bit era is what you're talking about now. This is after the after the Master System.
Right.
Yes, after the Master System, after the NES, and into 16-bit world, which had two competitors, theoretically three, facing off against one another, namely Nintendo and Sega. When you talk to any old school Sega, or rather old school gamer, the discussion of Sega versus Nintendo is paramount. It's supreme. Do you find yourself at this point, though things have clearly shifted, Sega, I am a Sega guy, is no longer in the hardware business, do you find yourself siding still with one camp more than the other?
In ways I do, in ways I don't. It's just your perspective changes. Looking at it back in the day, I had no reason to even be mad at Sega because a lot of stuff they had coming out was just kind of, you know. So it's just one of those things. But nowadays, it's like different companies, Nintendo, Sega, Sony, or not Sega anymore, I guess it'd be Sony and Microsoft, are doing things wrong in the market in different ways. So it's more like who's the least, more or less.
Yeah, that's true. That is true. I find that quite sad, particularly with Sega. I mean, I don't know.
They make murder porn out of their old franchises.
They do.
That's all it
is. They did with. I got a little scared about Knights.
Right.
Knights is a game that has been not 11 years in the making, but the first version came out 11 years ago on a 32-bit machine, which is the generation after the Sega Genesis and Super Nintendo, and they just put it out on the Nintendo Wii. To decent reviews. I'm a little scared personally. You know, it's sad that at this point I don't trust Sega. I'm a Sega guy. You probably fall into the Nintendo camp,
right?
Ultimately.
Oh yeah.
Nintendo is a little more. Neither one. No. See, the guy that you're not seeing is actually really very current, very new, and it's interesting for people like. I mean, I don't know about your thoughts on it, but I know for myself when I speak with gamers now who are very much Sony or Microsoft or whatever, to a Sega versus Nintendo kind of gamer, you're kind of like,
what are they talking
really?
about? This is like, if you really look at Microsoft and Sony, it's just kind of like, well, I don't know. I don't know how you could pick a camp. I really don't.
You know, what's your thinking behind that? Why not?
Yeah,
I mean, why?
Well, it's just like you look at the products being presented by both. It's pretty much the same damn thing.
That's kind of how I see it.
There's no exclusives anymore, you know?
Yeah.
You know, of course, you got Metal Gear, but let's see how long that stays exclusive.
True.
You know?
The 360, though, I find does have some. Sony, I agree, is really suffering.
Yeah, but even the exclusive they have are only exclusives for now.
For a while, yeah.
You know, like you had the orange box on the 360, well, it's on the PS3 now. Right. You know, it's just, there's a lot of stuff, the software is too similar. The specs are similar enough. It's more of a matter of preference and taste, you know.
Right.
There's no actual factor. Like, if I wanted to play Mario World back in the day, I had to have it.
Yeah, you go.
Super Nintendo.
Yeah.
If you wanted to play Tekken the Forever Man, you had to have the Genesis.
Yeah.
So there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. There's no runaround. You had to have it. You know?
By the way, for those of you who don't know, that's an obscure reference to an obscure game that is very much a Genesis game. Very Genesis.
And even if you take it outside of that, if you want to play something like even the system, the companies, third-party companies that put their games on all the systems, like Konami's. If you wanted to play Rondo of Blood back in the day, had to have a Turbo Duo.
Yeah.
Had to have a duo, so it went on every level.
Yeah.
Be it the Neo Geo people and their, you know, Fatal Fury. You can have Fatal Fury on Super Nintendo.
And
it wasn't Fatal Fury though.
No. You get King of Monsters, 1 and 2, Samurai Showdown, but it was not the thing.
It wasn't the same
not
thing.
The real thing. Now, and that's something that I kind of miss. Like, I think one of the reasons and new gamers, youngins, I don't think will appreciate what we're talking about.
Right.
And you did play games. I've spoken with the man over here, and he has played a number of old school games. He just happens to really kind of, the new stuff is so shiny and so nice that it really just kind of clouds over.
Well, that's
which
fair.
is legit.
Yeah.
I mean, that's legit.
That's fair too. If you haven't been paying attention since the get-go, it's really easy. Like, if you look at some of the games we consider classics, back in the day classics, if you didn't play it then, you try to play it now, unless it's a true shining example of classic, it's really hard. Like, I have a hard time understanding why anybody like Kid Icarus. People are
Yeah.
up in arms about Kid Icarus. Like, we got to get new Kid Icarus, you know. I didn't play it
We
back
need
in the NES, you know.
Yeah.
And I tried to play it recently. I'm like, well, what's the big deal?
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure that's a lot of people are like that now. You know, they're like, what's this Super Metroid?
Yeah,
You know?
right. And those are fair concerns.
Yeah.
Because some of those games really are kind of crappy.
Yeah.
I mean, if I don't... I've gone back to a few of my old favorites
Mhm.
after having not played them at all for years, particularly Master System games.
Right.
Where I look back and I'm almost shocked if they hold at all.
Yeah.
You know, and some of them really do, like Shinobi, totally on. Totally on.
That happens. I mean, there's some stuff very rarely is actually better now because you can appreciate the design of it.
Yeah.
Children don't, or like most gamers don't appreciate the design of a game.
Right.
They like to have the fun of it, but the design is really important. Like Mario 3 is is about one of the most fun games I've ever played.
Yeah, Mario 3 is awesome.
But the design of it is horrible.
How
Like
so?
if you really look at this, like the stage design, it's not so much horrible as it is dated.
Okay.
It's really poor. Like if you look at how the stages progress left to right or side scrolling and whatnot, a lot of the elements in there are just kind of not tacked on, but not well thought out.
Huh.
You know, there's a lot of sequence breaking just because of the design of it. You know, you can just, well, okay, I can see they didn't really take into consideration this enemy on this part of the stage and what this happens here and things of that nature. So it's just like, huh, well, but it's still a fun game.
Oh, yeah, undeniably.
I mean, the same thing more recently, like your Halos of the world.
Yep.
There's so many design issues with Halo, but it's fun, so nobody cares.
Yeah.
Same things with Grand Theft Autos or anything like that.
What do you think draws gamers these days?
These days, I'm not sure.
I mean, what drew us back in the day? Why the shooting? So is it really? Because a lot of people,
See, I don't
particularly,
understand that. I don't get that because.
No, does that mean
shooting's been there
just
forever.
violence?
See, I don't get that because shooting's been around since the very first, Space Wars. The very first video game.
Yeah, right.
Was about shooting.
Very abstract, though. I mean,
Right.
and very disconnected. You know, this was basically a game where you had a core with gravity, a gravity
Right.
core, and then you had two ships that would circulate around it, and you would shoot each other at odds.
Right.
And that was the game. You're right. Shooting is video games.
Yeah, it's what it is.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, the shooting itself hasn't gotten that much better over the years. It's gotten prettier.
Oh, it's gotten real pretty. I saw some the other day.
You
The
know,
new stuff is gorgeous.
It's just you remember back in the day. This is gonna sound like dinosaur talk. Playing, shareware versions of Doom on your 46.
Oh, see, that was such a rich time, though.
Yeah, it really was.
I mean, culturally speaking, when Doom hit, like, right now, Call of Duty 4 just came out, right? This is apparently the game. Everyone loves this thing. And it looks amazing. It's fantabulous, no question. But there's not, for me anyway,
right.
the same sort of sense of freshness that happens when Doom hits. And it's cool to have been there for when Doom happens.
Can you imagine walking to the arcade and seeing Street Fighter 2 for the first time?
I remember it clearly.
Yeah,
I remember it. Fry's. It was at Fry's in Tucson.
I mean, there's like several ages. You never know when these things are going to come. But
What's up, man?
Yeah, there's another key grip in the background there.
Yeah. Doing all right? Good. Yeah, rocking it out. Rocking it out. Enjoy your Sunday.
But yeah, you never know when these things are going to hit, be it a Street Fighter or a Doom, a Mario Brothers or a Dance Dance Revolution or anything like that. You never know when these things are going to hit. So being around when that happens is just like, you can't imagine a time when it wasn't around.
It's true, and it still happens to a degree with new stuff.
Yeah.
I feel it happens a little less often, but I think it's in part because technology is so advanced that, once you see Call of Duty 4, you're kind of like, okay, we're pretty close to real.
Yeah.
That looks like real smoke, for instance. The effects are incredible. And so the next time you see that, you're not as gobsmacked.
Right.
Whereas back in the day...